Hello everyone, it is Joe here from Omnipoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon. Today we're going to be looking at Suicune Ludicolo. It's an archetype that's been doing pretty well at regionals despite being kind of one of these off-the-wall picks still. I think it's still very much expected to be sort of sub 5% of the meta. Because it is quite a precise deck that requires some decent sequencing thanks to shady dealings, and let's face it, you're trying to use multiple stage 2 Pokemon, so there are some awkward hands in here at times, but at the base we're trying to use the lovely Inteleon engine to cherry pick combinations to make things happen for us. That's pretty much the core element here. Keep calling is not a bad thing to go for as well if you are the player going second. You also have Call for Family on Lotad as well. So 7 of your leads as one prize Pokemon are really good when you are going second, which is something to bear in mind. The Ludicolo is a huge buff to your basic Pokemon's damage by 100, which really makes Suicune's base damage a lot more dangerous with that Blizzard Rondo. So hopefully some candy shenanigans with Ludi here and there can help you get through Arceus V-Star as well as Mew V-Max, which is obviously going to be important because if you're not one-shotting things like Arceus or Mew, they will heal either with Psychic Leap or via Sharon. So it's going to be important to take one-hit KOs throughout the game. One thing that I am doing differently from Finn Lynch's second place list is that we are being that little bit more responsible now that we have seen Urshifu creep back into the meta and Jolteon to an extent. We are playing Manaphy, which does hurt the space of the deck. I'm also even playing Rescue Carrier, because I feel like Rescue Carrier already is not a bad card because you're sacrificing Sobble and Lotad in the openings just to get that attack rolling. It can give you some easier discards off of Ultra Ball and Quick Ball to maintain your lines as thick as possible. And also if these sorts of cards are being targeted, you can recover them. But also in the spread matchups, you're not just back to a losing spot as soon as Manaphy's dealt with. You can recover it and use it again. So trying out this mini package to see if it does enough to protect your board against the spreading decks which have been creeping into the metagame. But Suicune V is our main attacker really here. It's a 2-prize Pokemon with 210 hit points. It has that fleet-footed ability. Really nice to chip in here and there. We're not playing any counter stadium, so you just sort of accept when a path hits the field, it's going to be stuck there. But every now and then you can get some value from this, and it certainly is helpful, especially because we are a combo deck. And Rondo does 20 plus 20 for each benched Pokemon, so naturally that's a 120 base on your side if you fill your board, and then any extra for how much is on your opponent's side. So well, most archetypes in the format can't really function without bench Pokemon, you know, their own Inteleon engines, Genesects, Bidoofs, Bibarrels, backup attackers for Arceus to attach to. All these sorts of things are integral for the majority of decks, so it's difficult for the opponent to play around Rondo damage-wise, and if they do, their board state is much weaker, so that's what you're trying to do with the list. Outside of that, to make space for this Manaphy, I have cut away from the cross-switchers, which were kind of important in Daniel's list, I'm not going to lie, but I feel like there aren't many easier cuts in the deck, unfortunately. So we have made those 2 spaces. I've also gone up to 4th Net and 4th Incense. I feel like these are just good cards in the deck anyway. Really important to get your shady dealings online. Sometimes even Candy into Big Deal just to get things going. And of course, it's not a bad attacker in the deck. Aqua Bullet doing 120 and 20 to one of your opponent's bench. Actually very relevant against things like Mew. It can do that 20 poke onto them whilst taking like a 1-prize KO on a Meloetta or something like that. So that's always relevant. Also very good in single prize matchups where you come up against things like Rapid Strike Malamar. You can do that 20 damage hit, and sometimes with quick shooting, which has now entered the list, you can take some multiple prize turns, especially with Scoop Up Net quick shooting plays. And I think because there are enough other Inteleon engines roaming around and there is enough Mali specifically around, it makes sense to play quick shooting again. There are times when you can play without this, but I think there's just enough 1-prizes to make it work for you. Of course, there are double turbo Mews around as well, so sometimes quick shooting even comes into play in that instance as like a pseudo second choice belt, but obviously be careful of fusion energy. To cheat some space back, we are playing 1 boss's orders. It is difficult to weave the boss in, but when you go first and get turn 1 attachments, and then like Melony and Raihan your way through the remainder of the game, you actually can have a turn to weave in boss. So I do think 1 is like relevant, and at any point if the opponent is going to gust any of your targets, you typically have floating like attachments as long as you're not whiffing. To make sure that you get that 1 boss play in. It is greedy, I'm not going to lie, cross switches are obviously very good. because they have performed well. But we are making the changes here just to fit in the Manaphy, because I would feel pretty nervous playing Suicune without Manaphy right now. I think you don't have enough good matchups to warrant the deck without this mini package. So we'll jump into the ladder, see how Suicune Ludi plays. It's an interesting debate whether or not you want to go first with, or second with the deck as well, because I do think it plays well going second, like I said, with those 7 Sobbles and Lotads that you can start out with and at least go wide on the board early and set up your engine. But I think there's just enough Arceus decks in the game right now where I still choose to go first, because sometimes just getting Turn 1 attachment onto Suicune proactively is good. It enables that boss that little bit better. So I am going to select to go first if I'm able, but if I'm forced to go second, it's not the worst thing in the world, as long as you start with one of your decent leads. But in this case, we start with Suicune anyway, which is a little bit awkward. But we'll see how things go here, and we'll see what we're up against. Like I said, we're trying to be that little bit more well-rounded with the Manaphy being played in the deck. But if you want to just stick to Fin 60, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing at all. It's just, you know, you're walking that tightrope of taking L's here and there. But we'll see. We'll see how the list goes today. We've got a couple early basic ball searches, which is solid. We have a fleet-footing card as well, so not bad at all. Our opponents, it looks like they chose to go first, but they have the perfect keep calling hand and not much else. So a donk is possible here. It would be unlikely, but our fleet-footed plus turn attach would have, well, sorry, plus turn draw would have to be water Melony, but it's possible. All right, they're actually trying to protect the Sobble and going into dunce. Okay. Well, we're halfway there. Man, it's actually crazy to increase my odds of hitting the Melony. I'll definitely play the level ball, because that's always being played. I don't think I'm meant to play the quick ball proactively, though, because just getting an attachment down is value regardless. The only thing it enables... So it's like one more Sobble out the deck to improve my Melony odds off of fleet-footed. That's the only thing that it does. I can always just discard something else, I guess, but I don't want to discard anything else. I think I just fleet-footed. If it's Melony, we're the best. Not bad. I'm expecting this to be a... an Arceus deck. You know what? I want draw anyway next turn. I probably should have just played this quick ball for water, because Melony next turn is just good regardless. So let's just make the next Sobble commit to Melony turn 2. So I probably should have just done that anyway, and just given myself the 1 extra non-Sobble card to draw off the fleet-footed. Cape is a really good card, though, against Arceus. Making ourselves a 260 hit point 2-prizer is pretty annoying for them. They're forced straight into the Marnie, which does put some Drizzile to the bottom, but hopefully we can get back into some of that good stuff. We hit the Melony capture, so that's pretty strong. They are getting level ball, probably for Drizzile, I'd have to imagine, unless they already have one in hand. They probably need to find ways towards their Arceus and get that guy rolling. So it's kind of nice that we banked the water in the discard pile pre-Marnie, actually. Yeah, it's exactly deal for quick, so they can get an Arceus developed. We can initiate the race on a 1-prizer here, which is no bad thing. They also have to sacrifice a net, which is usually a pretty valuable card. They play 2 typically. Water to Arceus and pass. Okay. Well, Lotad's what I would have gone for anyway. Do I want to thin a Pokemon out the deck? Yeah, I want to thin Pokemon out the deck. So I've already hit the Lotad. I've already got 2 Sobbles. I think I just go second Tad to protect myself against boss plays from him. So I'm threatening the KO. We're always playing Melony, so let's just do it. We do hit Incense. I think we're going to evolve up some Drizziles here. I think it's pretty solid to Drizzile dance with the deck, typically, because you can do some crazy stuff with Big Deal. So Let's do this. Let's do this. We'll hold Incense to hand off of this. Because it's pretty non-committal, but still really dangerous, right? If they Marnie us, they Marnie us, but the hand is still really strong. If I bench Suicune, his one-card hand has to be exactly Arceus V-Star or Drizzile or Inteleon or Incense. That's actually a lot of outs for him to take a 2-prize KO on Suicune. It would require a lot still, though. Yeah, I think I'm fine to bench it. Most cases here. Let's take our card. Proactively discarding your next water to play around Marnie again. Not bad. I think I'll just hit, though. I could have gone deal for Level Ball, Drizzile, then Fleet-Footed, then take the Incense if I don't draw this Ultra. I should have had the information of the Fleet-Footed before deciding Incense, but Incense is pretty much always safe. It only looks bad when you draw, like, Inteleon, I guess. Sequencing is a big part of this deck, and I'm not super in tune with it, so I'm probably making some minor errors here. But our macro was a pretty strong turn, let's be honest. So they had the V-Star. They have the option of going... Wow, so they have the Drizzile too, so they could go Drizzile for Big Inteleon, Shady Deal for Boss Belt, V-Star Power for Double Turbo and Pokémon, and they could Gust KO the Suicune for 2 prizes. That's probably the best thing they can do for their race, but their hand would just be the 2 random cards from prizes. So I wonder if they'll go maximum tempo here, or if they'll go for like a Disruption Supporter. Yeah, okay, so they go for Avery, which is kind of fine. Avery is another reason to play the Rescue Carrier, so you don't run out of basics. Gonna see that Starbirth now. I'm imagining they're gonna need something to attach to, and they're gonna need Double Turbo, unless it's in their 3-card hand, or either of those cards are in their 3-card hand. They may want to go for health buff on their side as well, to play around us KOing them. Okay. So I imagine they play some sort of tool removal. Melony's a fantastic draw. We can get rid of these. We'll grab our next Suicune. We'll capture out a Tad. We'll take our card. We'll take our cards. So we're already there at the 180. Sorry, 280. We can big deal. We definitely want a net. I think it might just be double net, honestly. It's certainly 1 net. Does he ever go chasing my Drizzile? He just loses a race every time if he does, and I'm holding more Incense, so it's... I think it's just net Raihan, something like this. I think that sounds solid. Let's take our 2. Feel pretty comfortable. A little scared of like a tool jammer coming in here. That would be a little sketch. But our hand is fairly well prepped. They're still working off a low hand because they basically just took random cards off of Avery, so there's no guarantees they actually have anything good here. They can power edge KO, but it would make life very easy for us to take a response. You can see the Cape putting in dividends here. Against the Arceus, it's such a pain for them. So we do see the evolution. What else will we see here? The 2-card hand. They're not necessarily good cards because they're off of an Avery. They weren't selected cards. Hitting through this has to feel bad. The fact they've had to 2-shot this Suicune can't feel great. But I don't know what other plays they have. Yeah. Not even accelerating any energy here. They are getting the benefit of a couple cards from prizes, but... So we need to belt this turn. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19 to 10. Yeah. So let's do this. Oh, I could do quick shooting as well, but I want the deals, right? Not necessarily. Yeah, okay. He knows he's just dead from there. We have access to way too much stuff. The KO was guaranteed. With Raihan, we could grab Candy Ludi. I either had the option of Big Shady or Ping Inteleon there. Big Shady was probably still best, just so I could reload with a net. My last benchmon would have just been Sobble. So the net would have been strong. I would have had Sobble, Big Shady, Ludi, Lotad, knowing that they wouldn't have been able to gust me for any damage because they only had 2 Drizziles. Yeah, we pretty much were just very far ahead there. Survived in Avery. You'll love to see it. Kate putting in work for sure. Let's get another game in. But before we do, I did forget to talk about the lovely Potown store, the sponsor of today's video, and yeah, it's the place to go for PTCGO codes. Prep yourself for PTCG Live, get all the stuff from Brilliant Stars, etc. Let's jump back into it. Don't worry, I'm mulling anyway. We did win the flip, so we will choose to go first here. And we'll see where our opponent is playing. The quick shooting is also nice just for being some prizing redundancy about this one-off belt, which does scare me that little bit, because I do think it's going to be very important at math fixing when the opponent's trying to play around their bench size. This is definitely a going second hand, not a going first hand. Actually, it's just a bad hand in general. Makes it slightly better. At least I'm seeing a Sobble, so I'm probably alive, actually, which is crazy. I would like to get Marnied, but I don't think playing these incenses changed that fact too much, so we're just going to do this. They're just going to copy us. Seems good. We can go deal for Suicune. Give ourselves 4 draws towards... Ooh, okay, that changes everything, actually. I would like to start initiating some prizes. So what's this going to get? This just gets buckets to guarantee the damage. Yeah. Let's see. Prize 2 candies, which is scary. This could easily be Mirror, but they play Balloon. I don't think... maybe 1 Balloon is pretty normal. Also, yeah, weird. Why would they play the balloon? Anyway. Let's go bucketing. Let's grab the Sweet. Let's play the Melon. That's a couple really good draws there. I actually probably should have fleet-footed there before the level ball. I'm really just mis-sequencing everything, to be honest. Let's do this, though. If it's mirror, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. 18 puts him in belt range to KO. So am I meant to not put it down, making him go wide? Yeah, I think I'm just not meant to put this down. Because it's either like Arceus. I guess if it's Arceus, I want to have the boss option, though. It's close. This lets him have like a pretty good combo turn if it's mirror. The balloon makes me think it's Arceus, though. And I think if I was against an opponent who I wasn't sure about, I'd assume it's Arceus. Oh, it is mirror. Okay. So this does give him the option to... I mean, they need a pretty crazy turn. They have Melony / Raihan live, though, so maybe it's in their range. Yeah, they need to go full board plus belt to get the response KO here. They can deal again. And playing down that air balloon was super weird. It's hurting their outs a lot now. They probably need to get a net. They play switch and balloon. Wow. I'd have thought one of at most. They can fleet-footed. Oh, it's Ice Rider. Okay. That's going to be good for us, for sure. Alright, there is such a thing as too many incense. Let's play them more proactively before the fleet foot. Bucket would have been what one of my deals was for, so that's a pretty good draw. Let's go dealing. Certainly want Melony. I think it's just Melony quick. Seems good to me. I do already have water and discard pile, but I think it's still fine to do this. Yeah, let's get rid of a water. Let's get more cards. So it's actually good to keep the belt around for other things. So I think I'm taking another net here. Let's go Candy Ludi KO. Again, I don't have to fear boss because we're depleting all their energy, so we can keep the maximum board. It's just Rondo. Get some nice prizes. We could, in theory, win next turn. We're going to see a boss. Pretty strange choice. So I can't KO this turn, but it doesn't much matter. Do I want to pay retreat out and keep my nets open? Probably. See how many nets we have left. Still have 2. I think it's fine to just pay retreat here. Don't want to give him the free ride of the High King either. That can definitely go. Don't need this. Yeah, it seems like a pretty straightforward hit here. Feels like we're in a very strong spot. Yep, it's just game. It's game in so many ways. Had a pretty slow hand, I guess. Let's make sure we're doing enough. Yeah. Alright. Nice couple games. Some of the easier matchups for us, I guess. I'm pretty sure you're, like, fairly okay seeing Arceus. They can do some sneaky stuff, but going first against them definitely feels strong. And obviously Ice Rider just has more prizes on the table for us. We can play around Rondo a little bit easier than they can. Let's get a last game in. It's not a bad start. We keep getting some going second hands, but we'll live with it. Everyone's out here playing Sobble. Let's pass. Next turn we can double deal for bucket quick. Looks like it's another mirror. Everyone's out here playing Suicune today. We're at the Suicune MMR. Level balling? Interesting. Wait, why would you take a Sobble? What? Hello? What? That's so weird. Okay, so it's Arceus. I guess they took a Sobble to improve their Marnie ults. Super weird, though. How bad is Call for Family here? He has the option to, like, Melony, KO my one prizer. We're certainly not going to be the one level balling for a Sobble here. I think we just dance deals and call for fam, honestly. Just hold Big Shady for next turn. You can just do so much with Big Shady. Your options just go so wide. Wide peepo. We could do a funny net boss play and try and disrupt the option to Melony, but I don't think it's necessary. Alright, let's do it like this. He needs acceleration, so he can't boss, so we're allowed to put the 2-prizer down. Let's see how their Marnie treated them. Very badly. Okay. I think I want the fleet-footed card first. I'm still allowed to play this down because he has no energy on his guys. We can do a lot here. I'm already holding net. So it's always Melony. I think it's Melony Cape, right? Yes. He can't boss KO anything. He can only boss to stall, so I think we're fine just hitting. Marnie played themselves by the looks of things. Do promote the Arceus now, though. Okay, top deck V-Star? Raihan, okay. They're gonna start doing their own deals. Sounds good to me. Gonna Marnie away our hand, which was getting pretty substantial. But he's already played Raihan. Wait. Are you sure about that? Seems like a blunder. So, once again, we have Candy Colo. Let's draw one. Doesn't really change much. Do our deals. We know they play Marnie in hand, so there's no point in us playing a Melony, right? I think I just get Candy for next turn. Yeah. Well, he's gonna... What am I saying? He's going to make it as bad for us as possible, so... Let's just take Quick Ball as a worst card possible to draw, because my hand is, like, as perfect as it gets, right? I guess I could Quick Ball dance away some boot cards. Yeah, we'll do that, we'll do that. Play around the Marnie that we know is in his hand. Candy Colo. Say yes. We know he's Marnieing us. Basically always. Net Colo. Don't even have to. I can just hold it, honestly. Take the prizes. We found our way once again into a spot where we have floating attachment, so the boss has been fine here for us. Let's see how the Marnie treats us. They already have a KO with Power Edge, but again, they really don't want to Power Edge KO. They want to get the V-Star and at least force more out of us. What an insane hand. They can do their own big deal. So actually, if they make another basic to Trinity Nova onto, it's really bad for them. They can just lose on the spot, basically. And they are going to make that basic. Oh, I guess if they don't put down the... Oh, okay. I guess they don't Quick Ball this turn. Certainly confused. I guess they're not getting Nova value anyway, because they only attached 2 water last turn from their Nova. You'd think they'd have more waters left, though, right? 4 water is far too low. Path is their best target, or it's going to be their best Quick Ball target? Okay, interesting. So played around the KO here. Because us even full benching a 20 off right now. We're going to Candy here. We can go Melony Candy. Is Melony right? Is Raihan just better so I can get a Sobble to unlock my hand again? Melony, or I go Raihan attach. Oh, that's so much better. So we Raihan here. We grab Capture. Capture Sobbe. Candy Colo. And we hit for 20 off. We're actually threatening win next turn with Aqua Bullet Boss. Even if we're not winning next turn, his board position is pretty dicey. Even hitting 120 and 20 to the benched Arceus is going to be decent for us. We are out of candies, though. That's the only concern. So if we top deck Capture, Water, or Bucket, we immediately win the game. Or Boss, I guess, because then I can deal for the Bucket. It's not a lot of draws, I'll admit that, but potential to just win on the spot here. Unfortunately, we're not drawing cards any other way, though. Zig. They're Zig pinging so they can actually take the KO. Makes sense to me. Gonna see Quick Ball now. They need to get an energy drop onto another Arceus. Here it comes. Gonna see the Melony. I'm gonna net. Sobble's back down, so they can deal next turn. There's the Zig. Okay. So a handful of draws immediately won us the game. Would be nice. If not, the game plan is a little dicier. Oh, we immediately won the game. Great. Pretty fortunate, not gonna lie. What would my turn be instead? I guess it all depends on the top deck that wasn't the best card that I could have drawn. There you go. Get the bullet going. They probably had to Sharon's Care if I... Oh no, I was always taking KO active though. At the very least. Interesting. That was actually an interesting end. Although, like, it felt like a breezy win, right? Because we still had 2 prizes left for them to take. And they couldn't win the game next turn, but we would have found it hard to win the game on the last turn if there was another V-Star in our face. So actually kind of close at the ending there. But yeah, that's Suicune Ludi. We didn't see the Carrier in action or the Manaphy. Boss was okay though. We used Boss a couple times, so that was fine. The shell is still very much Finn's 60. I do love getting to play an extra Incense and an extra Net. The cards are so good in the deck. You could even consider 4th Candy. It's that good, honestly. I need to chain 1-hit KOs so often against stuff like Arceus, so it's certainly a reasonable card for sure. Let me know your thoughts on the list. Where would you place it in the top 10 right now? It's certainly one of these decks where it's not super popular, and there are risks to playing it, of course, and people are teching things like Avery into decks, as we saw, and collapsed and whatnot. So those are concerns for the archetype, but in general, you can piece together some powerful turns, and I think there's still some strength here. So I'll hear it all down below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video tomorrow. Cheers.